Hello gamers and welcome back. I had some surprisingly good comments on my previous video when I was discussing the use of rocket launchers and specifically the reticle for the Russian RPG-7 V2. So I was going to continue with my how to play squad type videos. Now today we're going to go back to the basics, start at the beginning, and talk about Riflemen. Most, if not all, of the factions will have 3 basic Riflemen kits. I'm just going to pick one at random here. And we're going to spawn in on Jensen's range. And I'm going to talk about the equipment a little bit. So, as a rifleman, you get a rifle. That's about it. There'll be a knife. Some of the loadouts for the militia and insurgent teams, because they are probably not going to get an optic on their rifle, you will get binoculars and a pistol in addition to a knife. But most of the Western countries, the United States, Canada, the UK, and Russia, you will not get pistols. There's a frag grenade. I'm going to check that out there for giggles. A couple smoke grenades. Those are always useful. Depending on, because I have the rifle with the red dot, I get 2 frag grenades. But in most cases, if you take the rifle with the magnifying optic for the US team, the ACOG, you will only get 1. Bandages. Everybody needs bandages. Shovel to build stuff. Because I don't have the magnifying optic, I get binoculars with the ever-important rangefinder I mentioned in the previous video. And probably the most important piece of kit as the rifleman is this ammo bag. So, I used that grenade earlier. I can take ammo off of this bag and replace the equipment that I used. But anyone on your team can, resupply off of that ammo bag, which, here you've got, I used some earlier. It starts with 100 points of ammo. And especially, when working with the other squad members, which is kind of the point of the game, to stick with your squad, work with the team, you will be able to resupply the other guys. And that's, as a rifleman, probably the single most important thing you can do. Also, as a rifleman, you perpetually get the short stick. You always have to do... I'm not saying you have to, it's not required, in theory. But because you are the least important member of the squad, you are also the most useful member of the squad. So you get to drive vehicles, run the Logi truck, dump your ammo bag, make the dicey maneuvers, throw your smoke grenades, and drag the wounded guy back behind cover so the medic can pick him up. Basically, when the squad leader's like, hey, I need a volunteer to do this, it's your job to do it. If that makes any sense. Just because, other people, the light machine gun, the LAT, the medic, the marksman, they're kind of specialized. They might be not necessarily more important, but also not necessarily as well suited for the general purpose tasks that may be required of you. If your guys are building a fob while under fire, and squad leader's like, hey, I need shovels, dig this. As the rifleman, you go dig the fob and let that guy with the belt-fed gun lay down fire to keep the enemy from overrunning you guys. Now that, just doing that kind of stuff is also one of the best ways. If you're brand new, if you've just bought squad and you've loaded in and this is your first match, play as the rifleman. You don't know how to use the other more complicated bits of kit. Like in my previous video, it takes a little bit of learning to figure out how to use that optic on the RPG. So let people that have a little more experience, that know what they're doing, let them do that. And by being voluntold for all of the fun jobs like driving the Logi truck back and forth for just so that there's ammo at the mortar fob and that kind of stuff, it lets you learn the mechanic of the game, and it lets you figure out how far you can sprint before running out of stamina, and remember how to stage your weapons so that when you come back to it, you're in semi-auto versus full auto, and get familiar with the interface and the controls, and kind of get a lay of the maps, or learn the lay of the maps before you get using any of the more expensive equipment that I'm gonna die. See, I need to practice. So I get to practice putting bandages on. But as a new player, as an inexperienced squad member, it'll afford you opportunities to learn faster. It'll help flatten the learning curve without either A, diminishing your usefulness, or B, taking away the more valuable kits like the light machine guns and the anti-tank kits from other players that may be better skilled with them because they've got 300 or 1,000 hours in the game and you've only got 30 minutes. After my little rant here, I'm gonna record some gameplay and I'll throw in another video in a minute, maybe later this week, with actual in-game footage, just so I can roughly illustrate the points I'm trying to make here with the basic generic Riflemen Kit. And for all nations, all nationalities, all factions, they're gonna be roughly the same. I mean, obviously, the Russian team will have AK-74s, and the US team has M4s, and so on. But they're all nearly the same. You get a rifle, a knife, a frag grenade or two, a couple smoke grenades, your bandages, a shovel, your binoculars, if you don't have a magnifying optic. That's just how it goes. They're relatively well balanced as games go, and not untruthful to real world equipment if you're here for the simulator part of the game. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one, and hopefully I can get a little more excitement in there for you without trying to blow myself up.